Hi, early birds. We'll start in 45 seconds. Had to get up early to see what's going on with Facebook. Good evening. It's 7 o'clock here in the northeast of the United States. This is Kunchab Tarduling, the Tibetan Buddhist Meditation and Study Center located in New York City and northern New Jersey under the direction of Chabje, His Eminence Chabje Ling Rinpoche, and also under the direction of Rato Kensa Thupten Lunda, also known as Geshe Nikki Vreeland. This is our twice weekly presentation of the LAM RIM Chenmo, or Stages on the Path to Enlightenment. Tonight is a special presentation honoring the Lama Zopa. He has passed, and I understand from the latest electronic media that's come out that he was in Tukdam and then white and red came from his nostrils, so he's where he is. I don't know. But his consciousness has left the body. A sun has set, but a sun rises. They're the same cliche. But we mean, anyway, the best way to honor him is to listen to his teachings. We're going to read tonight from The Door to Satisfaction, lectures he gave in Bodhi Gaya, I think in 1990, a while ago. Just a few little snippets throughout the book, but then the main body of the reading from the book will be apropos to what we're studying now, the insight section of the Lam Rim, and he'll be talking about the practical application of it. The way he's speaking like a real preacher. It's a live thing, so there's repetition, there's force, there's good examples. Wonderful teacher. Great man. We can go on. We'll also be reading the 10th chapter of Shantideva's book as a dedicated to his quick return, put it that way. Anyway, any problems with the sound or picture, please let me or Darren Smith know. Anyone for whom you want us to pray for when we do the Sutra of the Recollections, put their names in the chat box. I may not see all the names because I get a little smaller one here because the screen is so large, the picture screen. All the prayers we say are on the Tibet Center website in the FAQ section. The Shantideva prayers, not the 10th chapter, no. But you could just listen to that. And it's we do it whenever someone passes, sometimes online, but always personally. So we have a lot to do, a lot of work to do. So we'll start as we normally start, prayer for the spreading of the teachings. Also on the website, you might find it there. You will find it there. By the force of the blessings of the non-fallacious three precious gems and of the truth of our pure selfless wishes, may the precious Buddhist teachings flourish and spread to the expanse of all areas throughout the length and breadth of the West, for all the people living here together with their near ones who have engaged in the teachings and have faith and respect for them. May all conditions adverse to their practice of the pure Dharma be dispelled, and an excellent collection of favorable conditions increase, like the waxing moon. And especially for those who work on methods to accomplish the flourishing and spreading of the victorious one's teachings, which are the source of benefit and happiness, may they never be oppressed by masses of interference and adverse conditions, and may this spontaneously happen just as we have hoped and wished. The Heart Sutra. Thus have I heard once the Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of the Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a gathering of great monks and great bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the samadhi which examines the dharmas called profound illumination, and at the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Avalokiteshvara, how should those noble ones learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge? And Avalokiteshvara answered, Venerable Shariputra, whoever wishes to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this, seeing the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Form is empty. Emptiness itself is form. Emptiness is not separate from form. Form is not separate from emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discriminating awareness, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Thus, all the dharmas are empty and have no characteristics. They are born and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, since there is emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discriminating awareness, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no objects of mind, no quality of sight, no quality of hearing, no quality of smelling, no quality of tasting, no quality of sensing, no quality of thought, no quality of mind consciousness. There are no nidanas from ignorance to old age and death, nor their wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, since there is no attainment, the bodhisattvas abide by means of transcendent knowledge. And since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. They transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the past, present, and future by means of transcendent knowledge, fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering, should be known as truth, for there is no deception. In transcendent knowledge, the mantra is proclaimed, Tayata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Parasam Gate Bodhisoha. Oshariputra, this is how a bodhisattva mahasattva should learn profound transcendent knowledge. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and praised the bodhisattva mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family, profound, transcendent knowledge should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One said this, Shariputra and the Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering in the world with its gods, humans, Asuras, and Gandharvas, their hearts full of joy, praised the words of the Blessed One. Refuge and Bodhisattva vow, which of course we say 3 times. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Enthused by wisdom and compassion today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind for full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Enthused by wisdom and compassion today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind for full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Enthused by wisdom and compassion today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind for full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world. May all the pains of living creatures ripen solely upon myself, and through the might of the Bodhisattva Sangha, may all beings experience happiness. May the teachings which are the sole medicine for suffering and the origin of every joy be materially supported and honored and abide for a very long time. I prostrate to Manjagosha, through whose kindness wholesome minds ensue, and I prostrate to my spiritual masters, through whose kindness I develop. And as a cause for the quick return of Rato Chungpa Rinpoche, we also pray for the quick return of Lama Zopa. That those of you who are interested, the FPMT websites have prayers and activities that they're doing. I invite your attention to their websites. Another gem that Lama Zopa left behind for everyone. Anyway, a prayer for swift return, for the swift return of Rato Chungpa Rinpoche. Exalted wisdom of all victors gathered in a drop soul refuge manifest in the form of the one wearing saffron robes, Guru Lozang Tubuang Dorje Chang. Please bear witness here today that our prayers may be fulfilled. We beseech the great torch of doctrine, accomplishing from long ago the vast waves of aspirational prayers, Lord of speech of the Victor Lozang's teachings, spreading them to the ends of the earth by means of explanation and practice. Though holding the commitment, I will invite all beings to be my guests in unsurpassed great awakening. Yet you have withdrawn the activities of the form body that serves the welfare of others. Is that worthy of the supreme among beings, the bodhisattvas? Though impossible for you to cyclic existence's end, to abandon your commitment to liberate all beings, we beseech the new son of Nirmanakaya to swiftly return from the realm of Dharmakaya, brought forth by bodhicitta drawn by 7 steeds. Having reached the far limits of scholarship, religious life, and goodness, please come swiftly as an unrivaled supreme emanation, full holder of the sage's teachings and wish-fulfilling jewel. Return as the glory of Losang Tenpei, magnificent truth of the 3 precious jewels, Mahakala, Karmayama, and Sri Mata Devi, and the ocean of Dharma protectors. May you spontaneously fulfill our wish, the swift blossoming of the reincarnation's fresh moonlight face. So we come to this point where we honor Lama Zopa and his work, and this is just the epitome of endless effort in a positive bodhicitta mode. Look at all the centers around the world that he founded. Look at all the great teachers that he's fostered, we could say. There's Ravasti Abbey, Nuns Tutin Chudran, Sanjay Kadro, George Turner. We can go on. Robina Court, all these people and all the centers. Look on the map of the world, they're everywhere. Unbelievable. And you know it came from his heart. Not a selfish bone in that guy's body, to say the least. I don't think he ever had a bad thought either. I would say. The Rinpoche used to say that about a lot of people. Rinpoche's couple of word characterization of Lama Zopa, I found that he was studying with Rinpoche and everything. Oh, he's this and anything. Yeah. And then Rinpoche could be very strong. He's a practitioner. That's high praise. He's a practitioner. Not a scholar, not a raconteur, not this, not that. Practitioner. He led by example. We can go on. Let's let his teachings talk. So I'm going to read a few snippets from this book, The Door of Satisfaction, as I mentioned earlier. It's from a lecture he gave in Bodhi Gaya in 1990. It's a while ago. Pure Dharma. So a couple of things. Mainly we'll focus on the insight chapter, the looking for the I, talking about non-inherent existence, because that's what we're studying now. So we'll get his take on it. Very serendipitous. So we'll start with a quote. If one does not remember death, one does not remember Dharma. Oh yeah, I remember death. They don't mean it that way. They mean to call to mind. If you don't call to mind the inevitability, the actuality, the reality of death, you're not going to be incented to study Dharma. That's all he's saying. No, that's on page 77. It's a heading of one of his chapters. He leaves behind this nourishment for our hearts. I met him only twice. And he gave a long life initiation at our center in New Jersey. He's on fire. He was just electric. He was just everything for everyone else. There was a good example of bodhicitta. So we'll start page 29. He talks a little bit about Atisha. When he said those who practice LAM RIM are very lucky, because even just hearing it once, you have a good imprint on your mind of the whole path, not just something that attracts you here or there, which a lot of people know. There's a whole path. And you're getting that idea immediately by coming into contact with the LAM RIM. This is actually a commentary, this book, on The Door to Satisfaction. What is it called? It's Opening the Door of Dharma by Lodro Jaltsen, who was a disciple of Tsong-kha-pa and Kedrub. So 1400s, the 15th century. And he's commenting on that. The full title is Opening the Door of Dharma, the Initial Stage of Training the Mind in the Graduated Path to Enlightenment. We'll let it go. Page 29 talks a little about Lama Atisha, who was the first, who codified the LAM RIM at first. And Tsong-kha-pa said his LAM RIM Chenmo is a commentary on Atisha's Lamp for the Path. So you all know that. Lama Zopa starts, though through Lama Atisha's kindness in writing Lamp on the Path to Enlightenment, those of us who have met the LAM RIM do not have any confusion now about where to begin the graduated path to enlightenment. The greatness of the LAM RIM. So those who haven't met the LAM RIM don't know where to begin. Even though a person may have studied many sutras and other texts, if you ask them, how do you begin the path? They don't know how to answer. And if they do answer, the answer is back to front. with later practices mentioned before the earlier steps of the path. So it's essential you have this template or grid of how to proceed sequentially. He continues, we are extremely fortunate that Lama Atisha in Lamp for the Path to Enlightenment integrated the entire Sutra and Tantra paths of Buddha, Hinayana, Paramitayana, and Tantrayana, setting up the whole path as a graduated practice by which one can achieve enlightenment. From the side of the teachings, everything is very clear. The only problem is that we don't practice. I like I'm skipping quickly because I just want to get to the main part. When Lama Atisha was about to pass away, this is from page 30, Geshe Naljo Chok said to him, Chok, after you have passed away, I will dedicate myself to meditation. Lama Atisha answered, give up everything that's a bad action. Lama Atisha did not say that it was good to meditate. He did not say, oh yes, that's very good. Instead he said, give up anything that is a bad action. This is typical Lama Zopa, comes to the point, just like the Kadampas. No shilly-shallying. Naljo Chakri Chok then said to Lama Atisha, in that case, sometimes I will explain Dharma and sometimes meditate. Again, Lama Atisha gave the same answer. Naljo Chakri Chok thought some more and then gave another suggestion. But no matter what he said, Lama Atisha just kept on giving the same answer. Finally, Naljo Chakri Chok asked, well, what should I do? And Lama Atisha said, give up this life in your mind. In other words, your goals, your mental goals should not be of this life. You're not going to get anywhere that way. Keeping this advice in his heart, Naljo Chakri Chok lived in a juniper forest near Reading Monastery, no different from the way animals live in a forest. This is not talking about his mind, just his body. Living alone, not seeing even one other human face, he passed his life there. He watched his mind. So I'll skip again now to, I have a little list so I don't waste time. Page 43. If you have this book, it's excellent. I don't know if it's still available. Probably is. But I'm sure there's others who have studied and talked about it. There's so many writings on Lama Zopa, so many videos. I advise you all to not waste time and go turn them on. In fact, you can shut this thing off. This is him speaking. So, bottom of page 43. A sutra says, the world is led by the mind. Lama Zopa says, this means that the mind is the producer or creator of the world. All happiness, for example, is led by the virtuous mind. All the good things, the body of a god or human, the good places, desirable sense objects, arise in dependence upon the virtuous mind. By practicing bodhicitta, one is able to generate all the rest of the Mahayana path, tantric realizations, and enlightenment. All these come from or are led by bodhicitta. All suffering is led by the non-virtuous mind. All the bad things, the bodies of the suffering transmigratory beings, the lower realms, arise in dependence upon the non-virtuous mind. Everything comes from the mind, but the mind is formless. The sutra then says, the mind does not see the mind. You may have heard this. The mind does not see the mind. There's a big debate about that. His comment, Lama Zopa says, I think this means that because the mind does not have color or shape, we cannot see or feel it in the way we can see and feel our body and other objects. Our mind and our delusions are formless and colorless. However, our ignorance, believing in true existence, is harder than a rocky mountain. Our delusions are harder than steel. Rocky mountains and steel have a beginning and an end. They can be destroyed by external factors such as the fire at the end of an eon or the heat of 7 suns. However, the continuity of our delusions, our ignorance, does not have a beginning. Our ignorance is beginningless, yet it still hasn't changed. This is amazing. And unless we train our mind and actualize the path, our delusions have no end. Unless we train our mind, actualize the path, our delusions have no end. If we are able to generate the remedy of the path, we can end the delusions. The quotation from the sutra finishes, whether an action is virtue or non-virtue, it is collected by the mind, or your actions or motivated actions are collected by the mind. Page 49. He's going to talk about desire. Desire as Suffering is the title of this chapter. What am I gonna do right now? Check the time, but here it is, so I don't muddle up everything. We got oodles of time right now. Good. Page 49, Desire is Suffering. Not following desire is practicing Dharma. Following desire is not practicing Dharma. It's as simple as that. The whole point of opening the door of Dharma, these instructions from the holy mouths of the Kadampa Geshes, which they practice and experience, is to cut off the 8 worldly dharmas, to be free of desire clinging to this life. Whether you are practicing Dharma or not, the evil thought of the 8 worldly dharmas is the source of all obstacles and problems. Everything undesirable comes from this thought of the worldly dharmas. When you are told that you have to give up desire, it's very practical now, you feel as if you are being told to sacrifice your happiness. You give up desire, then you don't have happiness and you're left with nothing. Just yourself. Your desire has been confiscated. You have been robbed of your happiness and you are left there empty like a deflated balloon. You feel as if you no longer have a heart in your body, as if you have lost your life. Think about it. This is because you have not realized the shortcomings of desire. Desire itself is a suffering, unhealthy mind. Because of desire, the mind hallucinates. He likes that word. It's going to be repeated. The mind hallucinates, and you are unable to see that there is another happiness, real happiness. For example, when there is desire for an object and enjoyment of it, you label this experience happiness. It appears to you as happiness, but in reality, it's only suffering. As you keep doing the action, such as eating food, your happiness doesn't increase, but only decreases. Go ahead, pig out. He continues, as your stomach becomes full, your happiness then becomes the suffering of suffering. Before the suffering nature of the action is noticeable, it appears to be happiness, but when it is noticeable, it becomes the suffering of suffering. When, he continues, the suffering was not noticeable, the feeling was labeled pleasure and appeared as pleasure, but as you continue the action, the feeling gradually becomes suffering. And you can remember Aryadeva's comment, pleasure always turns into pain. Pain never turns into pleasure. So, Lama Zopa continues, bless his heart. The peace you experience by abandoning desire leads you to nirvana, the sorrowless state. This peace, which is the absence of desire, allows you to develop completely, to become enlightened. You can experience this peace forever. From the very first time you free yourself from the thought of the worldly dharmas, from desire, you begin to develop this peace in your mental continuum, and eventually you experience it forever. If you feel that by sacrificing desire, you are sacrificing your happiness and are being left with nothing, remember that all your problems are based on desire and the thought of the worldly dharmas. Not knowing that the nature of desire is suffering, you cannot see that there is a better happiness. Sometimes they say bliss. I don't know. There's a better happiness. You cannot see that by sacrificing the thought. You cannot see that by sacrificing the thought of the worldly dharmas. By freeing your mind of desire, there is real peace, real happiness. In other words, you can't see that by doing this and that, there's real happiness. He's not saying freeing your mind is not to give you happiness. He's saying we don't understand this. This happiness doesn't depend on any external sense object. It is developed within your own mind. With your mind, you can develop this peace. For example, let's say that you have a skin disease that makes you itch. You scratch yourself so much to relieve the itch that you make sores. Rather than labeling pleasure on the relief that scratching the itch gives you, wouldn't it be better not to have any disease at all? Wouldn't it be better to give up the disease? Having desire is like having this skin disease. Nagarjuna said something similar. It's very pleasurable to scratch an itch, but isn't it better not to have it in the first place? So he's echoing, he's totally the Dharma come to life. I think you all know that. So he continues, if there were no desire, there would be no cause for all the problems that arise from desire. There would be no evolution. If we didn't have this body, this samsara caused by delusion and karma and contaminated by delusion's seed, we wouldn't have to experience hot and cold, hunger and thirst, and all the other problems. We wouldn't have to worry about our survival or spend so much time and money looking after our body. We are kept busy just keeping this body looking good. From our hair down to our toes, we put so much work into decorating this body. So much of our precious human life is spent on that. When you get sick, however, even taking medicine cannot always cure you. So wouldn't it be better not to have this body, this samsara at all? In other words, a body under the dominion of samsara. You can appear as as bodhisattvas do, deliberately with a body that looks like everybody else's for the purpose of helping others. It's a different situation. And higher up you go, the more difficult the situation is, even though to ordinary people you appear like a human being running around. So he says, wouldn't it be better not to have this body, this samsara at all? Then you wouldn't have to experience all these problems. Without desire, there would be much peace in the mind, a peace that could be developed and completed. This work has an end. Seeing samsaric pleasure and dependence upon external objects of desire is work that has no end. No matter how much you work towards that goal, it has no end. I think you can verify that, most of us. We look carefully and be honest. Like waves in the ocean coming one after the other, that work never ceases. I got to do this, I got to do that, I want this, I want that. I want and I don't have. You're immediately in a situation of tension. Is that the way to live? We do it because it's habit. But let's get rid of that habit, you know? Anyway, I'm working, but oh boy. He continues, first of all, temporal happiness, which is dependent on external sense objects, is in the nature of suffering. And second, no matter what you do, there is no way to finish the work for temporal happiness. So, here's a little quote here. As Nagarjuna explains in the verse that Ramtampa also often recited, acquiring material things or not acquiring them, happiness or unhappiness, interesting or uninteresting sounds, praise or criticism, these 8 worldly desires are not objects of my mind. They're all the same to me. That's what Nagarjuna said. And Nagarjuna is free. We'll go to page 56. Quickly. Rapido. Nyorwa. I don't know, I have a sense of not wanting to waste everyone's time on this auspicious occasion. We'll go to 56. He's talking about, talking about cutting off desire. The book is a gold mine. If you have time to get a hold of it, do so. It's a daily practice manual that flows. The meaning flows right into you. Wonderful. Bottom of page 56. Hundreds of problems come from dissatisfaction. When there is very strong desire, it is very easy to become angry, for example. The stronger the clinging, the stronger the anger that arises. Frustrating desire causes explosions. If you don't cling very much, you don't get so angry. When someone upsets you, you might still be disturbed, but less than before. Anger, jealousy, and so forth arise in relation to clinging, to a false way of being specifically, or grasping. Because of clinging, these other negative thoughts arise. When any of these negative thoughts arises, you create negative karma, the cause of the lower realms. When your mind is overwhelmed by desire, completely clouded by desire, you cannot meditate. Even if you have some idea of emptiness, for example, it is very difficult for you to have any feeling for it. At times when your mind is quiet and peaceful, you may have some feeling for it. But when your mind is clouded, a thick fog of desire covering everything, you are unable to meditate on emptiness. Furthermore, you are unable to think of the shortcomings of desire. I think we have resonance to that situation. We could all realize this as truth. Yeah. And we like the Dharma like this, but in certain moods, we're not receptive to it at all. He continues, when you have strong desire for an object, you become very unhappy if you can't be near it. You cannot relax. There is no physical relaxation because there is no mental relaxation. Even though you may not have any particularly hard work to do, Since your mind isn't relaxed because of desire, there is no physical comfort or relaxation. False desire here. He continues, there are many such examples of the shortcomings of desire. Think of alcoholics and drug addicts. Their lives become so unhappy, so uncontrolled. They cannot do anything. Moreover, they damage their awareness and memory. Disease comes from the dissatisfied mind of desire. He's very good on the mind-body connection. Disease comes from the dissatisfied mind of desire, the evil thought of the worldly dharmas, because dissatisfaction creates the conditions for sickness. You are then sick for many years, with huge unwarranted expenses and many thousands of dollars. When you can't get money in a proper way, you have to steal. Your mind becomes disturbed. You have a nervous breakdown and go crazy. You then have to spend so much time and money on psychiatric consultations and might even end up in an institution. And the origin of all this? One moment of uncontrolled desire. That one moment when you did not protect yourself from the thought of the worldly dharmas, when you did not practice dharma, brings so many problems. So words to the wise. He's being very serious there. Now we go to the main body. Yes, good. We have about a good 20 minutes. This starts on page 89, but of course, there's no page number where it starts. The title of the section is There is Finding No Self to Cherish, the Emptiness of the I. And the little tag at the beginning of the section says, since the I that exists is merely imputed, there is nothing to cherish, nothing to cling to. It's a construct, convenient construct. Why are you hanging on to it? It's like it's your fort. Hello. Now, title of the chapter, and he starts the body of the chapter with this little title at the top of the page, Living in a Hallucination. Yes, you don't need drugs for that, guys. We're all living in a hallucination, according to him. Well said, I think. So again, now we're on page 91, those who are keeping score. Our whole problem is not being aware of the reality of things. Just like hallucinogenic drugs or mushrooms, wrong conceptions make our minds hallucinate. We are unable to practice awareness of reality. That is, that all causative phenomena are transitory and the basic thing that what appears to us does not exist in the way that it appears to exist. The whole topic of the Insight chapter right here. He continues, the ignorance in our mind that holds everything as truly existent focuses on the I that does exist. Yes, there is an I, but apprehends a truly existent I, which doesn't exist. In other words, you take it the wrong way. It's that simple. Put it in the New York vernacular. Like this, everything our ignorance focuses on, the I, the body, mind, others, sixth sense objects, does exist. They all exist, but not in the way ignorance apprehends it, not in the way ignorance takes to be. No. That is the hallucination. So he works from there. Look at all your projections of true existence. Just as this brocade cloth covers the table, he has a little throne there. The truly existent I covers the mere I. Truly existent I, the phony I that we're apprehending, it covers the real one underneath it. Nicely said. In your own view, the subject, the I, is covered with true existence, as are the action and the object. They are all decorated with the appearance of true existence. Veiled, you might say, a veiled truth, something like that. Look at all these things, aware that they are empty. Look at them and be aware that they are empty. Concentrate on the fact that everything, subject, action, object, is empty. Every single thing that exists is completely empty. You might, in your mind, say, dependent on other things. Oh, yeah, yes. But that's because we read the Lama. He continues, concentrate on emptiness. In emptiness, there is no I and other, no subject and object, no friend and enemy. In emptiness, there is no attachment, no anger. In emptiness, there is no emptiness, the emptiness of emptiness. While meditating on emptiness, while you are looking at emptiness, think this. Then it makes sense. There is not the slightest reason to believe that anything exists from its own side. Setting itself up, you can go on and on. So, he continues. The I, which is merely imputed, conveniently labeled so we can sort things out on a certain level, which is labeled on the aggregates, the body and mind of the person, does not exist in the way it is seen by our ignorance. Ignorance hold the I not as merely labeled, but as existing from its own side. This truly existent aspect held by ignorance does not exist. We have to be aware that what appears to exist from its own side is empty of existing from its own side. We're seeing it wrong. Hate to break it to all of us, but me too. We're seeing it wrong. He continues. All things that exist, starting with the I, are nothing other than what is merely imputed. Imagine, constructed, whatever you want to use the word imputed. There's no I other than what is merely imputed. There are no aggregates, no body, no mind other than what is merely imputed. Similarly, action, object, friend, enemy, stranger, possession, sense objects, all these are nothing other than what is merely imputed by the mind. All of these are completely empty, almost as if they don't exist. Yeah, from this point of view where everything is solid, if you look the other way, oh, they don't exist. He continued, but all of these, self, action, object, friend, enemy, stranger, possessions, happiness, unhappiness, good reputation, bad reputation, praise, criticism, acquiring things, not acquiring things, or not non-existent, it is as if they are illusory. As if they do not exist, but they are not illusory. They do exist. Strange. This is the hard part. How do you posit in everyday reality, knowing deeply that everything is empty of inherent existence? How do you posit? Very hard. Tsong-kha-pa said that's very hard to do, and I'm preaching that. So he's tackling the problem. And he's saying, what do we do practically to bring ourselves along to this realization? He says now, the middle of the page, look at all these things as illusory. What appears to you, real self, real action, real object, real friend, real enemy, real stranger, real possessions, has nothing to do with reality, the way we see it. This real existence from its own side has nothing to do with reality. In reality, all these are completely empty. Happiness, unhappiness, praise, criticism, pleasant sounds, unpleasant sounds, good reputation, bad reputation, getting things, not getting things. The appearance of all these as real existence from their own side has nothing to do with reality. Yeah, we are hallucinating because we think it's real. Not even an atom that exists in this way. In reality, all these things are completely empty. He continues, due to imprints left on our mental continuum by our past ignorance, which held everything to be truly existent, again, we project true existence onto all these things now, which in reality are merely imputed. The seed or potential left on the mental continuum is actualized in this way. Nothing exists without labeling. The I does not exist without labeling I. The aggregate, samsara, nirvana, nothing exists without labeling. That's fine. Conventional reality. Therefore, everything is empty because we just label it to bring it to that point. It doesn't exist from its own side. We gave it a label. He'll explain. Everything that appears to exist from its own side, self, action, object, friend, enemy, stranger, sense objects, is completely empty. From morning to night, we talk about things that are merely imputed, think things that are merely imputed, hear things that are merely imputed, look at things that are merely imputed. From morning to night, from birth to death, from beginningless rebirth to enlightenment, everything is like this. So there is no reason at all to generate attachment, anger, and ignorance. It's complete nonsense, unnecessary, and meaningless. Without reason, your mind has created these problems. Your own mind has made up ignorance, attachment, and anger. The conclusion is that there is no reason at all for discriminating thoughts of attachment, anger, and ignorance to arise. Now the next section says, looking for the I. And I'm watching here because I'm going to quit so we have time enough to recite the 10th chapter of Shantideva's book to honor him. And maybe we'll continue with more of Lama Zopa. I think we will, because he'll be explaining the section that we're on. So let me just get through this little section. You have no choice. You have to let me do it. Anyway, looking for the I. None of the aggregates is the I. Even the whole group of the aggregates is not the I. The body, the mind. The body is not the I. Even the mind is not the I. Understand clearly that none of these is the I. The aggregates are the base upon which we label I, but they are not the I. The I is something other than that. The I is not separate from the aggregates, but it is different from the aggregates. From the top of your head down to your toes, the I is nowhere to be found. All this, all this that you can point to is not the I. All this that you can touch is not the I. Nothing of this is the I. Be clear about this. The I is nowhere. Meditate on this. My arm, my ear, my neck, go on. You got it. He continues. If the I could be found on the aggregates, it would mean that it exists from its own side, that it is truly existent by using scientific analysis, not just by relying on faith. You cannot find the I on those aggregates, on these aggregates. But this does not mean that the I doesn't exist. You have to redefine existence here. There is no I on these aggregates, but there is an I. There is an I in this world. In this root institute in Bodhi Gaya, that's where he was giving this talk from. The I exists. Dash. Why? Because the I is experiencing suffering and can abandon suffering by abandoning its causes. Because of this suffering, the I is practicing Dharma. Functions, though not inherently existent, functions. If there were no I, he continues, life would be very simple. You could just relax. Ooh. You wouldn't have to worry about getting up in the morning and rushing off to work. You wouldn't need to look for a job. If there were no I, why would you need to work or go to university to get a degree? All this would not be necessary. There would be no I to experience happiness and comfort. So why would you bother to do any of these things? If there were no I, why would you worry? You could stop all these activities immediately. If there were no I, there would be no action of meditating. If there were no subject, how could there be an action of meditating? It would be lying to say, I am meditating. There wouldn't be subject, action, or object. However, since there is a base, since the base of the I exists, there is no choice, the I exists. But not the way we think it. I slipped that in. No, he continues, since there is an action that results in suffering, there is no choice. Non-virtue exists. Since there are secondary thoughts that disturb the principal consciousness, there is no choice. Delusion exists. Since there are undesirable, uncomfortable, unpeaceful feelings, there is no choice. Suffering exists. Yes. So I'm going to leave it at that. We're on page 94. We will continue this to get the good nourishment out of this book. I think that's the best way we can honor him, besides praying and stuff. And also bring to mind again, his children, Dharma children, are everywhere. You can, all the videos, etc. He left such a blessing for us. They rely especially on the talks from Sravasti Abbey, on the books that Thupten Chodron has collaborated with His Holiness on. I can go on. Let me shut up. We're going to recite the 10th chapter, the dedication chapter of Shantideva's books, which we recite when some of our friends pass or some lamas pass or whatever. You probably don't have a copy at hand. You probably have it in your house. But anyway, just hear it. And this is for you, Lama Zopa. Please come back soon. A lot of us miss you. Through the virtue of having composed this work, a guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life, may all living beings come to engage in the Bodhisattva's conduct. May all beings everywhere plagued with sufferings of body and mind obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of my merits. For as long as they remain in cyclic existence, may their mundane happiness never decline, and may all of them uninterruptedly receive waves of joy from Bodhisattvas. May all embodied creatures who throughout the universe experience hellish realms come to enjoy the bliss of Sukhavati. May those feeble with cold find warmth. May those oppressed with heat be cooled by the boundless waters that pour forth from the great clouds of the Bodhisattva's merits. May the forests of razor-sharp leaves become a beautiful pleasure grove, and may the trees of knives and swords grow into wish-fulfilling trees. May the regions of hell become places of joy, with vast and fragrant lotus pools, beautified with the exquisite calls of wild ducks, geese, and swans. May the heaps of burning coals change into heaps of jewels. May the burning ground become a polished crystal floor, and may the mountains of the crushing hells become celestial palaces of worship filled with sugatas. May the rains of lava, blazing stones, and weapons from now on become a rain of flowers, and may all battling with weapons from now on become a playful exchange of flowers. By the force of my virtues, may those caught in the fiery torrents of acid, their flesh eaten away, revealing their lily-white bones, obtain the bodies of celestials and dwell with goddesses in gently flowing rivers. Why are the henchmen of Yama, the unbearable buzzards and vultures, afraid? Through whose noble strength is joy brought upon us and darkness dispelled. Looking up, they behold in the firmament the radiant form of Vajrapani. Through the force of their joy, may they be free from wrongdoing and find his company. When they see the lava fires of hell extinguished by a rain of falling flowers mixed with scented water, immediately satisfied, they wonder whose work this was. In this way, may those in hell behold Padmapani. Friends, don't be afraid, but quickly gather here. What need is there to flee when above us is the youthful Manjagosha to dispel our fears, the tender Bodhisattva who protects all living things, through whose might all suffering is removed and the force of joy abounds. Behold him in an enchanting palace resounding with the hymns sung by 1,000 goddesses, with the tiaras of 100 gods being offered to his lotus feet, and a rain of many flowers falling on his head, the eyes of which are moist with kindness. Upon seeing Manjushri in this way, may those in hell cry out loud with joy. Likewise, having seen due to the roots of my wholesome deeds, the cool and sweet-smelling rain falling from the joyful clouds created by the Bodhisattvas Samantabhadra and Sarvanirvana Viskambini, may all beings in hell be truly happy. May all animals be free from the fear of being eaten by one another. May the hungry ghosts be as happy as the people of the northern continent. May they be satisfied by a stream of milk pouring from the hand of the noble Lord of Avalokiteshvara, and by bathing in it, may they always be cooled. May the blind see forms, may the deaf hear sounds, and just as it was with Maya Devi, may pregnant women give birth without any pain. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food, may the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find new hope, constant happiness and prosperity. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their illness, and may every disease in the world never occur again. May there abound in all directions gardens of wish-fulfilling trees, filled with the sweet sound of Dharma. I missed 22. So never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid. May those bound be freed. May the powerless find power. And may people think of benefiting one another. May all travelers find happiness everywhere they go, and without any effort, may they accomplish whatever they set out to do. May those who sail in ships and boats obtain whatever they wish for, and having safely returned to the shore, may they joyfully reunite with their relatives. May troubled wanderers who have lost their way meet with fellow travelers, and without any fear of thieves and tigers, may their going be easy and without any fatigue. May those who find themselves in trackless, fearful wildernesses, the children, the aged, the unprotected, those stupefied, and the insane, be guarded by beneficent celestials. May beings be free from all states of no leisure, and be endowed with faith, wisdom, and kindness, with food obtained in a proper manner and excellent conduct. May they be mindful throughout their lives. May all beings be without want for wealth, just like the treasury of space, and without it being a source of dispute or harm. May they always enjoy it as they wish. May those who have little splendor come to be endowed with majesty, and may those whose bodies are worn with toil find magnificent and noble forms. May all lower life forms in the universe take rebirth in higher forms. May the lowly obtain grandeur, and may the proud be humbled. By the merits I have accumulated, may every single being abandon all forms of wrongdoing and perpetually engage in virtue. May they never be parted from the awakening mind, and may they always engage in the Bodhisattva's conducts. May they be cared for by the Buddhas and relinquish the actions of devils. May sentient beings have lives inconceivably long when in fortunate realms. May they always live in contentment, unfamiliar with even the word death. May there abound in all directions gardens of wish-fulfilling trees filled with the sweet sound of Dharma proclaimed by the Buddhas and their children. And may the land everywhere be pure, smooth, and devoid of any rocks, level like the palm of the hand, and of the nature of lapis lazuli. For all the circles of disciples, may many bodhisattvas dwell in every land, adorning them with their excellent manifestations. May all embodied creatures uninterruptedly hear the sound of Dharma, issuing from birds and trees, beams of light, and even space itself. May they always meet with Buddhas and their children, the bodhisattvas, and may these spiritual masters of the world be worshipped with endless clouds of offerings. May celestials bring timely rain so that harvest may be bountiful. May kings act in accordance with the Dharma, and the people of the world always prosper. May all medicines be effective, and the repeating of mantras successful. May dakinis, cannibals, and the like be endowed with compassionate minds. May no living creature ever suffer, commit wrong, or ever fall ill. May no one ever be afraid or belittled or their minds ever be depressed. In all temples and monasteries, may reading and recitations flourish and remain. May the Sangha always be in harmony, and may their purposes be accomplished. May monks desiring to practice find quiet and solitary places, and through having abandoned all wandering thoughts, may they meditate with flexible minds. May nuns be materially sufficient, abandon quarreling with each other and be unharmed. Similarly, may all ordained ones never let their morality weaken. Having repented any faults, may transgression always be eradicated, and thereby obtaining a happy state of birth, may spiritual conduct not decline even there. May the wise be honored, and may they receive alms. May their minds be completely pure, and may they be renowned in all directions. May beings not experience the misery of the lower realms, and may they never know any hardships. With a physical form superior to the gods, may they swiftly attain Buddhahood. May sentient beings again and again make offerings to all the Buddhas, and may they always constantly be joyful with the inconceivable bliss of the Buddhas. Just as they intended, may the Bodhisattvas fulfill the welfare of the world, and may all sentient beings receive whatever the Buddhas have intended for them. Similarly, may the Pratyeka Buddhas and the Shravakas find happiness. And until I reach the level of the Joyous One, through the kindness of Manjagosha, may I be mindful throughout my lives and always obtain ordination. May I live and be sustained by simple common foods, and in all my lives may I find the ideal solitude for practicing Dharma. Whenever I wish to see something or even wish to ask the slightest question, may I behold without any hindrance the Lord Manjagosha himself, in order to fulfill the needs of beings who reach unto the ends of space. May my way of life be just like that of Manjagosha. For as long as space endures, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. May all the pains of living creatures ripen solely upon myself, and through the might of the Bodhisattva Sangha, may all beings experience happiness. May the teachings which are the sole medicine for suffering and the origin of every joy be materially supported and honored and abide for a very long time. I prostrate to Manjagosha, through whose kindness wholesome minds ensue, and I prostrate to my spiritual masters, through whose kindness I develop. We prostrate to Lama Zopa. I don't have to say it. We want to watch it back. Hey. For whom will we pray? I can't see all the words. Who is ever on the page? And all the people who have passed from wars, etc. Sutra of the Recollection of the Noble Three Jewels. What do we got? We have enough time. I prostrate to the Omniscient One. Thus the Buddha, Bhagavata, Tathagata, Arahat, Samyak Sang Buddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sagata, the knower of the world, the charioteer and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher of devas and men, and humans rather, not men, everyone, is the Buddha Bhagavat. The Tathagata is in accord with all merit. He does not waste the roots of virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit. He is adorned with the minor marks. He blossoms with the flowers of the major marks. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing him, he is without disharmony. He brings true joy to those along with faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His strengths cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones. He is the guide of those who journey to the city of nirvana. He possesses immeasurable wisdom. He possesses inconceivable confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has enough of seeing him. His form is incomparable. He's not stained by the realm of desire. He's not stained by the realm of form. He's not affected by the formless realm. He is completely liberated from suffering. He is completely and utterly liberated from the skandhas. He is not possessed with dhatus. His ayatanas are controlled. He has completely cut the knots. He is completely liberated from extreme torment. He is liberated from craving. He has crossed over the river. He is perfected in all the wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagavats who arise in the past, present, and future. He does not abide in nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells on the bhumi where he sees all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues of the greatness of the Buddha Bhagavat. The Holy Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end. Its meaning is excellent. Its words are excellent. It is uncorrupted. It is completely perfect and completely pure. It completely purifies. The Bhagavat teaches the Dharma well. It brings complete vision. It is free from sickness. It is always timely. It directs one further. Seeing it fulfills one's purpose. It brings discriminating insight for the wise. The Dharma, which is taught by the Bhagavat, is revealed properly in the Vinaya. It is renunciation. It causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction, it is pithy, it is trustworthy, and puts an end to the journey. As for the Sangha of the great Yana, they enter completely, they enter insightfully, they enter straightforwardly, they enter harmoniously. They are worthy of veneration with joined palms. They are worthy of receiving prostration. They are a field of glorious merit. They are completely capable of receiving all gifts. They are an object of generosity. They are a great object of complete generosity. The protector who possesses great kindness, the omniscient teacher, the basis of oceans of merit and virtue, I prostrate to the Tathagata. Pure, the cause of freedom from passion, virtuous, liberating from the lower realms, this alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma, which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path to liberation. They are fully dedicated to the disciplines. They are a holy field of merit and possess virtue. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha, the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma, the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha, the community. I prostrate respectfully and always to these three. The Buddha's virtues are inconceivable. The Dharma's virtues are inconceivable. The Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivables, therefore the fruitions are inconceivable. May they be born in a completely pure realm. But Lama Zopa, may you swiftly return. Never mind the pure realm, where we can't see you. We want you back. Anyway, I'm being silly now. As a cause for the return of, swift return of Raja Chögyam Rinpoche, and you can also dedicate to all your teachers you want to return. Prayer for the flourishing of J. Tsong-kha-pa's teaching. This was recommended by His Holiness. Written by Losang Gyal Tenma. Though he's the father, it's on our website. Though he's the father, producer of all conquerors, as a conqueror's son, he produced the thought of upholding the conqueror's dharma in infinite worlds. Through this truth, may the conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. When of yore in the presence of Buddha Indraketu, he made his vow, the conqueror and his offspring praised his powerful courage. Through this truth, may the conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. That the lineage of pure view and conduct might spread, he offered a white crystal rosary to the sage who gave him a conch and prophesied. Through this truth, may the conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. His pure view, free of eternity or destruction, his pure meditation cleansed of dark fading and fog, his pure conduct practiced according to the conqueror's orders. May the conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. Learned, since he extensively sought out learning, reverent, rightly applying it to himself, good, dedicating all for beings and the doctrine, may the conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. Through being sure that all scriptures, definitive and interpretive, were without contradiction, advice for one person's practice, he stopped all misconduct. May the conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. Listening to explanations of the three Pitakas, realized teachings, practiced of the three trainings, his skilled and accomplished life story is amazing. May the conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. Outwardly calmed and subdued by the hearer's conduct, inwardly trusting in the two stages practice, he allied without clash the good paths of Sutra and Tantra. May the conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. Combining voidness explained as the causal vehicle, with great bliss achieved by method, the effect vehicle. Heart essence of 80,000 Dharma bundles, may the conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. By the power of the ocean of oath-bound doctrine protectors, like the main guardians of the three beings' paths, the quick-acting Lord Vaishravana Karmayama, may the conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. In short, by the lasting of glorious gurus' lives, by the earth being full of good, learned, reverent holders of the teaching, and by the increase of power of its patrons, may the conqueror Losang's teachings flourish. And now we have our 8 verses on training the mind, also on the Tibet Center website. With the determination to accomplish the highest welfare of all sentient beings who surpass even a wish-granting jewel, I will learn to hold them supremely dear. Whenever I associate with others, I will learn to think of myself as the lowest amongst all, and respectfully hold others to be supreme from the very depths of my heart. In all actions, I will learn to search into my mind, and as soon as a disturbing emotion arises, endangering myself and others, I will firmly face and avert it. I will learn to cherish ill-natured beings and those oppressed by strong misdeeds and sufferings, as if I had found a precious treasure difficult to find. When others out of jealousy treat me badly with abuse, slander, and so on, I will learn to take all loss and offer the victory to them. When the one whom I benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. In short, I will learn to offer to everyone without exception all help and happiness directly and indirectly, and respectfully take upon myself all harm and suffering of my mothers. I will learn to keep all these practices undefiled by the stains of the 8 worldly concerns, and by understanding all phenomena as like illusions, be released from the bondage of attachment. So housekeeping, our next class will be 2 days from now, Wednesday night at 7 at the parsonage. You're all invited. I ask you to all pray for our sister Maya, who has to undergo some tests tomorrow. She's not in a happy mood, body-wise. Maybe she is, mind-wise she is. Anyway, please pray for our sister Maya, those of you who know her, or even if you don't know. With regard to Lama Zopa, you want a question answered about Dharma, go to his website. I told him I said, I always find definitions and everything on your website. And he said, oh, good, good. And I thought, oh, yeah, he's glad that he did. And he said, no, he's very happy that I am looking into it. He always thought of others. He wasn't going to take praise of his own doing. He wasn't that kind of being. May we all become that. Anyway, thank you so much for your patient listening. And as I said, we will continue some more of Lama Zopa's talk next week, next class, because it's apropos of what we're studying now. Big love to all of you. Take care.